hope you enjoyed the first part of our interview with Linda Lockhart of the Global Give Back Circle. But you know, sometimes you find an interview that is so good that there's nothing that you want to cut out of it. So here's what we've done. We've decided to provide you this bonus material right here. And if you want more information, be sure to go to our website, www.rainmakers.tv. Then you can find the link to the first part of the interview. But right now, well, let's go back to Linda Lockhart and the Global Give Back Circle.
It actually started a few months before I heard President Clinton speak. It started in January 2005, Florence. I was in the habit of, I live in Paris, and I was in the habit of going to Florence every year in January for the sales. And this particular January, I was out shopping all day, actually 3 days, got back to my hotel room and looked at all the stuff I bought. And I kind of thought to myself, what is this all about? It was this aha moment that I'm not sure why I'm doing this, I'm just doing it out of habit. Something had to change. And it was at that point I realized I was just consuming too much and buying too much because I could. One that makes money and one that gives it back. The banker in me wants to die with 1 penny in the bank. But the job that is my passion is working with the girls and empowering the girls to break out of poverty and become global citizens, employable global citizens. Well, she does have opportunity, but I think that what we do is we actually give her more access to having more opportunity. Definitely. That's why we called it global. We always thought that it was meant to be a model that could pretty much be franchised. You know, myself and the women who work on this, we're business women. So we created this with a business purpose. It's replicable. There are templates that are replicable. The most natural next country would be Tanzania, which is right next door. They have someone just like the Kenya Community Development Foundation working on the ground here. Another next step, natural, would be Uganda or Rwanda. Recently, an organization contacted me and they would like to bring the program to Haiti. And what that caused us to do is put together a checklist of everything that needs to be in place for this to be successful. First, a local community development foundation on the ground with a girl-child mission. Second, internet access. We need to have it for the mentoring program. Third, high schools that take in disadvantaged girls and are aligned with the mission. So there's about 10 things, and once those 10 things are in place, we can very easily move this program to another country, even a country like Haiti. If you think about it, a girl graduates, any girl, wherever she is in the world, she graduates university or college. Somebody needs to help her find her first apartment, help her find a job, get her into society. So we keep her in our protective cover, I guess you would call it, for 3 months after she graduates to help. And we actually use the network of Kenyan mentors to help her find her job. The girls may not need those 3 months. If they don't, we don't invest in it. But we figured that there has to be some kind of a safety net, because this is all about making sure a girl doesn't fall through the cracks. And if you've taken her all this way, those last 3 months at the end are pretty important. It's interesting that you mentioned clothing. Clothing is a challenge we have with the girls, not just in the societal launching phase, but the minute that they actually finish high school. When they're in high school, they have a uniform and they're given shoes. The minute they graduate high school, they give back their uniform and give back their shoes. Some of these girls walk back home in flip-flops. So clothing is an issue, but there's an amazing foundation in the United States who came to us. It's called the Cabby Foundation, and they're a wonderful group of women who are in the clothing business and manufacture and distribute beautiful clothes to American women through parties. It's a fabulous business concept, and the retailer that I am, I really appreciate their model. But the heart of Cabby came to us and said, we want to join this Clinton Global Initiative commitment, and we want to make sure the minute those girls graduate high school, they have a wardrobe. So every girl who graduates high school has to take her measurements, and we send it to the Cabby Foundation in Los Angeles, and a wardrobe is sent over to that girl. She's given a casual outfit, a business outfit, and also a church or dressy outfit to start her launch into society? I never really thought about that question. And that's an interesting question to think about, a society that's not necessarily keeping up with her. How she might feel about having these clothes when her mother is walking around barefoot, or when her father is out selling vegetables with flip-flops on. I don't know the answer to that, Stan. It's probably one of those things that we're going to have to learn about and see if there are things we may be having to do to help their family and beneficiaries so she doesn't feel a little bit strange with this newness. Actually, it's interesting you put it that way. The girls initially think that the intellectual self is reading and writing, but we actually get them to understand that there is something called emotional IQ too. And that you have to, we have a lot of workshops. We have workshops on listening skills, believe it or not. And we teach them how to listen by what they watch a person do, about how another person is acting. So the intellectual self is not necessarily just book smart. It's actually being street smart. It's being emotionally smart and getting them to understand what that is. And it's such a big one for women. It's a big one for us because we have hormones that really act up once a month. And we've got to get the girls, and we work very hard to get the girls to understand that this monthly hormonal imbalance is just, you know, something that they're going to have probably for the next 30 years of their lives, and how to deal with it, and that they will be emotional during those times. And that's normal. But the emotional self is the one we have to work on the hardest with them.
Let's talk about the emotional self, though, of a girl who has lived in Kenya, not too far from the equator, nice, warm, comfortable, maybe sometimes hot, but all year round, and then all of a sudden goes to university in Wisconsin.
Her mentor, I think Vivian's mentor probably talks to her every day and helps her significantly. But Vivian's home is Kenya. One of the things we had to do was allow her to touch base with Kenya daily. And we did that through Skype. She has a laptop computer, she has internet access, and her best friends in Kenya have Skype, and every day she talks to them. She needs to. For her mother, she needs to talk to her mother at least once a week. She has to, just to remember where she's from. Her mother lives in a fishing village in Kisumu. Her mother has a cell phone. So what we've done is Vivian researched it. She found out for $20 a month she can use a third-party cell phone provider that gets her from Wisconsin to Kenya to Kisumu, and she's able to talk to her mother once a week. And those are the things that balance her when she's in a place that's so different. Tertiary education follows the gap period in our head. So that means after the gap is over, you go on to university, or a college, or a trade school. Not all of our girls have the grades that enable them to go to university with the full government loan package. We have to put some of them, and actually I think they're great options. What we would consider a community college, maybe an associate degree program, and they will choose majors in accounting, in IT. Nursing is an associate degree program in Kenya. So there's teaching is an associate degree program. So we get them into some great programs where they get employable skills. And then we have some girls who can't even get into a two-year community college, but we make sure that we get them into a trade school. Tailoring is a very good trade school. Also pastry making. There's a huge need for pastry chefs in Kenya. So all of the girls in the end, everyone comes out of there with ICT skills and then some form of tertiary education that enables them to get a job. All of them. That's what it's all about. It's not just self, it's also what am I doing for my community. So every girl that goes through our program. As you know, Vivian was a speaker in this year's Clinton Global Initiative meeting in New York City, and she learned about CGIU, which is the Clinton Global Initiative University program for students, and decided that she wanted to investigate and be a part of it. So Vivian and 3 other members of the Global Give Back Circle, 2 from Kenya and 1 who is studying in Dubai as a Clinton scholar actually, they've come together on a commitment of their own that they're registering through the Clinton Global Initiative. And it's come about because they realize that girls, especially in Africa, need a place to come to be educated on and create dialogue around 3 very critical areas. And they've chosen these areas. One is health, and especially about communicable diseases and cancer. Another important area in their mind is financial literacy. They've had the good fortune of having a lot of financial literacy workshops and courses through the Global Give Back Circle, but they want to pass on this knowledge and create dialogue around it. And another is one stand that I never would have thought of. They're extremely concerned about how social media, especially Facebook, is impacting the lives of their other sisters. There are girls in our program who are now on Facebook, and no one has explained to them how inappropriate it is to have certain photographs, to have certain language, to have certain images, not theirs, that friends put on their wall. That it impacts their image. It defaces their face. So the other area they're devoting to on this website is social media behavior. So it doesn't come back to haunt you 4 years from now or 10 years from now. They've decided to call the website something that young women would relate to. And the name of the website is Hey Sister, Get Clued Up. I can't imagine this working if the women who support me and work on this didn't have a head for business. You mentioned sustainability earlier on. Yes, sustainability is critical, and we sat back and thought, what are we going to do to make this sustainable? And we're going to embed a give back ethos in the girls. We're going to get the private sector on board, just a checklist of things to make sure it's sustainable. That comes from people who work in the business world. Another thing we did, and I'm really grateful we did this, is we didn't expand too quickly. If you're in the business world, you create a prototype, you test it, you tweak it, you give it a little more time, and you don't bring it out until it's pretty much close to perfect. And that was some great advice I had from other women who work with me on this, is let's get it right in Kenya. Oh, yeah, you know, they're amazing. Everyone asks that, how did you get a bank from Greece to be your first and most significant sponsor when we first started? What's in it for them is they came to the governor of the governor of Bank, Greece, Governor Miliakis. He came to the Clinton Global Initiative in 2008 because he wanted to give back in some way, shape, or form under this umbrella. He came with $300,000 to give to something. And the way the Clinton Global Initiative works, and I'm sure you know, is it's like a big speed dating game for philanthropy. Everyone runs around and sits down, and you make your pitch, and you run to the next person and you make your pitch, and you hope that an idea comes together with money. He signed up for it. He came with $300,000, and he had spent the first 2 days sitting down and listening to different organizations make their pitch. I'm not sure anyone knew what was in his pocket, but they knew he was here to give. I had the opportunity to see him on the very last morning for breakfast, and you get 30 minutes, and we were down to 20 minutes because he's a perfect gentleman, and he insisted on walking up to the coffee station and getting us coffee and orange juice, and we sat down. I'm a nervous wreck at this time. I hadn't collected any of the money I came to collect, $350,000. I don't know what made me say this, but I looked at him and I said, Governor Miliakis, I have never had breakfast with the governor, and this is not my job, it's my passion. And he looked at me and he said, Linda, we're all governors. Our passions govern us. I knew I had the money. I just knew it. I went to the pitch, I showed him the girls, I showed the pictures of the 35 girls I was collecting money for, and he said, I came here with $300,000 to give to something, and I'm giving it all to you. Wow. So I immediately grabbed him, left the coffee there, ran up to the counters where the CGI people were working, and said, he's giving us the money, $300,000. Everyone was excited. Everyone was hugging themselves. I still needed $50,000 though. And they said, have you met James Mwangi, Dr. James Mwangi from Equity Bank? And I said, no, I haven't. And they said, well, you should talk to him because he has a passion for education and girls also. I met Dr. Mwangi. He said, we can't let the Greeks outdo the Kenyans. We're going to give the other $50,000. So I actually left CGI with the money I went to get through commitments. Nobody told me you had a year to get it. I thought you had to do it in 2.5 days. So in answer to your question, what do the Greeks get out of this? They love being a part of this. They have actually sent executives from their offices in Athens to be with us in May when the girls do their annual give back commitments. They love the program. They see these girls as their girls. They're following their transitions and their progressions, and they said they've never had a social responsibility initiative that they've been involved in that they've been so passionate about as this one. Microsoft has a great program which is called Unlimited Potential, and it's global. And the way they orchestrate Unlimited Potential is they empower their local employees on the ground all over the world to embrace a program they're passionate about and bring it under the umbrella of Unlimited Potential and provide it with resources that will enable it to grow and prosper. We fit perfectly into that space because what we are trying to do is give girls skills that will get them employed. And IT skills are some of the best skills a young girl or a young man can have. Whenever we learned about this gap period, I had meetings with individuals in Microsoft, and it was interesting again because this came out of the Clinton Global Initiative. I met Pamela Passman, who works here in Seattle, at the 2008 Clinton Global Initiative. Pamela connected me to the representative in Dubai, who then connected me to a team in South Africa, who then connected me to Kenya. But it was the team in South Africa and Kenya that came together and thought, we need to turn this gap period into a gateway. And it was their idea to develop these ICT labs and the adjacent dormitories. They funded the building of them. They brought the technology on board. But what really makes it work is there are a team of women in Microsoft in Kenya. They call themselves the Women of Weka. And they are not only mentors for individual girls, but they run the program on the ground. They're vested in this. They love it. They are passionate about it. The key to making this work is giving ownership to individuals who have passions for certain parts of it. Is that enough? No, it's not enough. I think we should have tens of thousands, but it's enough for now. It's what we could handle and do well and make sure that it was done right.
The Global Give Back Circle. Women and girls helping each other to all have a better world. For more information, visit our website, www.rainmakers.tv. You're going to find out an awful lot more of some tremendous heroes all around the world doing great things. I'm Stan Emmert, and we'll see you next time on Rainmakers TV.